Okay, guys, moving on. Big matchup tonight in Anaheim as last year's MVP runner-up Vladimir Jr. squares off against MVP winner Shohei Ohtani for only the second time ever, which is mind-blowing. Now, both players not playing to their full potential, as we know, yet this season. So, Hannah, is Ohtani or is it Vladdy? Who's more important to their respective clubs?
I feel like you're underselling Ohtani, even with that intro. So I feel like I'm always on here defending Shohei Ohtani as if he
needs defense
to do that. His offense may be a little down this year, but his pitching is better than ever. I think it's like far and away. I mean, you're talking about sort of who's more valuable. It's the guy who can do two things. So that way, when his offense is a little down, he's still incredibly valuable. The Angels always need pitching. They need more than Ohtani, and that's why they're a little better this year, because they do have more than Ohtani. But his pitching is better than ever. His control is better than ever. He's throwing the fastball more than ever and harder than ever, I think, because he's feeling a little bit more confident with that control. I mean, he won the MVP unanimously last year, and he did then sort of struggle a little bit. In the starts where he wasn't as good, it was because he was walking a few too many guys or he was sort of nibbling too much. So far this year, only 9 walks and 53 strikeouts. I think even if his offense doesn't come back, he is still one of the most valuable players in the game. What's better than a top-of-the-line starter? Everybody needs them.
Yeah, he's extremely valuable, but I still look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr. like everybody else feeds off of this dude. I look at, you still have another MVP in that lineup with the Angels being Mike Trout. So when I look at also the division of the AL East, that's a tougher division. And yes, you have Houston Astros there with the Angels, but I look at, you have the Yankees, you have the Rays, you still have Boston as a good team. Like, those teams in the AL East are going to be tough when you don't have your guy Vladimir Guerrero Jr. going at the pace that he had last year, or even close to it. The biggest thing with him is, and Mike Petriello wrote a great article in MLB.com, we talked about it earlier, the fact is the book is out on him, right? They know how to pitch to him as compared to last year. 60% ground balls on 60% ground balls this year in this past month. So he's hitting the ball more on the ground. He's got to get it back in the air. But if he does that, he affects guys like Chapman. He affects guys like Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez. All of those guys feed off of that. He's got to be better for me in order for the Blue Jays to have an opportunity in this division.
So in your opinion, he's more valuable to that?
I think he really is. And because I also look at what Ward is doing over there, what Brandon Marsh is doing over there, those guys have been able to step up, and the pitching has been there. The Blue Jays, it hasn't been together for them.
I mean, the question is who's more important to their club?
Yes.
I'm done arguing whether, like, Shohei is what he is or the MVP. He's more valuable, yes. But for their club, right? You just mentioned other guys getting it done for the Angels, and they have Mike Trout. They have Rendon. They have other guys. But if the Blue Jays don't have Vladdy going right, then they're not going. Even if Chapman is hitting home runs and Springer, like, they need Vladdy to be right. Shohei, though, I have to give him his props. Like, I've come all the way around on Shohei. I think I argued against him a couple times on the show.
It was like day one argument.
I'm done. He's coming to New York next week. I'm excited to see him. He's a superstar. He puts people in seats. He's the most valuable guy. But if we're talking about important to their club and the success of their club, it's Vladdy. Vladdy's got to be going for the Blue Jays to be a contender.
But what we're seeing, to your point, is that maybe that's too much pressure on him at this point in his career, which is not to say that I think he's buckling under the pressure so much as it is just adjusting is such a big part of this game, and sort of figuring out how to have success when the pitchers figure out how to get you out.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it's important that he learned to do that, but if he can't learn to do that, then that sort of knocks him down on the importance. Then if you can only be good in certain circumstances, then the team needs to figure out something else to sort of build around.
I think eventually he will come around and he'll get back to what he was doing. But your point about adjustments is important to remember, too, because this game is tough. Like, it tells you how quickly you can go from being one of the league's best players to not being the same player the next year. And let's not forget, like, he's still hitting, better than league average. But at the same time, we expect so much from him, as well as the Blue Jays' rest of the offense.
Yeah, let me ask you this, because you're talking about, and now it's adjusting to the adjustments, and that's the mark of a player that has some longevity in this industry and in the bigs. How do you do that as a professional?
Yeah, no, it's extremely tough. And what you have to do is take it one day at a time, just like any other profession, right? Is like, I can't start thinking about, everything is speeding up on me. What if I don't get any hits the rest of this month? Or what if I don't hit any home runs? It's more of, let me take one pitch. One pitch at a time, do what I can today, and see what follows the next day.
Yeah, you guys pretty much made my argument. I think that team goes as Vladdy goes, but he's going to have to turn that corner here at some point. It's going to have to be soon, especially in that tough division.